Let's hear it for the band. Unbelievable. Well, thank you all for coming to this dedication of our 2.2 megawatts of solar, enough to power 700 homes, part of our California Clean Energy Initiative. We're going to welcome today Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, Councilman Tim McOsker. Yes. In fact, there he is. Oh, my God, he came out already. Not waiting around. Fantastic. I don't know if we have any other elected officials here today. There's so many dignitaries here. I wish I could recognize you all, but please be recognized, because success has many parents. And today, as you can see from the solar panels being held up, from all the young people here that are a part of this great movement, and from now and into the future, we know that every one of you is very important to this. I think Mike Galvin from the Port of Los Angeles is here somewhere. There's Mike right there. And Arlie Baker, I think, is here somewhere. We really appreciate them as our landlord, letting us have this wonderful 100-year-old property to turn into this amazing blue economy research and business development hub. I also want to recognize my crew here at AltaSea, everybody on the staff, and especially Jenny Crusoe, the real founder of all of this. Give them a great big round of applause. And from the USC Schwarzenegger Institute, Conyers, Mebus, Daniel Ketchel, give them all a great big round of applause. And finally, of course, True Green, that actually put the solar up there. Conti is the contractor that actually did it. And of course, the IBEW wonderful workers, the electrical union workers that actually are up there even now on the other side of the peaked roof working as we speak. Give them a great big round of applause so they can hear you. AltaSea is taking off. We now have a new roof on this 4-acre warehouse and the 2.2 megawatts of solar that, as I mentioned, will provide power to 700 homes. And I want to especially thank Dan Jacobson, Bernadette Del Chiaro, who were at the time with Environment California. They are some of the, without them, we never would have got the Million Solar Roofs initiative passed. And also to my dear friend Drew Bowen, who was in the governor's office with me back in those days. He's now with the Energy Commission. He's the guy who actually wrote the Million Solar Roofs initiative that we then had to evolve many, many times. Thank you, Drew. Next month, we will start the major renovations of our 180,000 square feet here at AltaSea to make this the world's leading hub for the blue economy, businesses, researchers, students, and workforce training. But we already have great blue innovators here in aquaculture, in clean renewable energy from the ocean, in underwater robotics, and many other ocean technologies that will help us tackle our climate and sustainability challenges now and into the future. In other words, our future is blue. And no one has been more instrumental in helping us reach this point than our trustee, Dr. Melanie Lundquist. Melanie is an activist philanthropist whose voice is as fearless as her life-changing work. She and her husband, Richard, who's here with us today as well, are always mentioned on the Philanthropy 50 and are signatories to the Giving Pledge. They're the second largest private donors to AltaSea, and Melanie serves on our board of trustees. Please welcome Melanie Lundquist.
Thank you, Cherry, for those very nice words. I appreciate that. And I am very pleased to say in front of all of you, Cherry, you are doing a fantastic job as AltaSea CEO. Thank you so much for your leadership. It's so important. And a thank you also to Jenny Caruso for having the vision to create the Energy for the Future Solar Star Initiative. I would also like to express my appreciation to Robin Albee and the entire AltaSea team, because you are all stars, rock stars. And another thank you to LA City Council Tim McCosker. Tim set AltaSea up for success. He was the CEO when my husband and Richard and I made our $5 million commitment to AltaSea. I also want to thank my husband Richard for his hard work that allows us to support great causes like AltaSea. And of course, I'm grateful that former Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger is here with us this morning. During your term as governor, you and Terry, plus other guests that are here with us today, made history, creating public policy that helped to save our planet. Thank you, and let's give the governor a round of applause. I am extremely pleased and glad to announce that the $500,000 Solar Star match that Richard and I offered has been met. One of the most important features of this is that AltaSea's solar panels are a gift that keeps on giving. These panels will generate clean, renewable energy and also, most importantly, create a revenue stream for AltaSea into perpetuity while powering this campus. Nonprofits really do need to be creative in how they fundraise. And with these solar panels, AltaSea wins with an alternative revenue stream and power source. So 700 residents, as Terry I think mentioned, of LA will win with renewable power from AltaSea. And that means our planet wins. So this is a win-win-win, a quadruple win, kind I like. This quadruple win would not have been possible without all of our donors. And I'd like to acknowledge a few of those who have been major funders of Solar Stars. Air Products Foundation, Boeing Foundation, Marathon Petroleum Foundation, the Port of Los Angeles Community Investment Grant Program, Honda Foundation, Dwight Stewart Youth Foundation, Norris Foundation, the Ring Foundation, M&T Fantastic Family Foundation. And speaking of family, my sister Rana, who's here with us today, is a donor too. Thank all of you for your support. And while we did meet this match, we still have some stars left to name if you're interested in having your name alongside those great organizations. Governor, I'm grateful for you being here for this exciting, exciting moment. Thank you all.
Thank you, Melanie. You really lead the way. And as she mentioned, we do still have Solar Stars available to name, to dedicate, and to help support our work. Just to give you a sense of how historic this place is, I took a Solar Star and named it after my father because he was a Marine in World War II who stayed in these very warehouses when they were shipping soldiers and material out to the Pacific Theater of War. So that's, and even back to World War I when this was a submarine base. There's a lot of history here, but a lot of future. On that note, I also want to recognize our trustees who are here today. We have a great board of trustees, Melanie Lundquist, one of them. We have Monique Johnson and Eric Johnson. Matt Horton is here with us. They were real architects of the Million Solar Roofs Initiative, extending the renewable portfolio standard to make sure we get more clean energy. And they're still working in these fields to make our communities more sustainable. Give them a great big round of applause. Thank you. And now I'd like to thank the voters of the 15th City Council District for electing my predecessor here at AltaSea. because by electing him to be on the city council, I now have the job of CEO. So please welcome Councilman Tim McOsker.
Thank you very much, Terry. Tim McOsker, councilman of the 1-5, and I do have a history with this property and this project. But I will say I want to step back a little bit and talk a little bit about my motivation and my commitment to this, because it is deeply rooted in my family history. My dad's family, my grandpa came to San Pedro from the Midwest to work in that prison over there. He worked in the prison and raised a family here in the harbor area. And on my mom's side, my grandma, who was a single mom, brought my mom and an uncle to LA because she had brothers who were longshoremen. And the longshoremen were doing pretty well and she needed some help. And so my family was transformed by work in and around the harbor area. And many thousands and thousands of families have been transformed by work in the harbor area. But as we step into the future, we know that there is some risk. There is some risk of opportunity to build those types of lives with work in and around the port. And we also know that living near a port, I grew up in San Pedro, and we know living near a port, whether you're in Harbor City or Wilmington or San Pedro, has its advantages because you have an opportunity for good work, but it also has its disadvantages because of the impacts, the environmental impacts that come from the port. So as I had this opportunity through Jenny Crusoe, who recruited me to come over to AltaSea, I looked at AltaSea as a way to transform the port and its environmental impacts on this area and on the world. But also, I saw AltaSea through Jenny's vision and through Mr. Abe. I saw AltaSea as an opportunity to change the way that we do work in the future, to create opportunities in addition to great longshore work, in addition to work in and around marine terminals and in construction. I saw us as creating an opportunity right here in Southern California, right here in Los Angeles, right here in San Pedro, to create this blue economy, to create a future of work for our families, whether it's in sustainable fuel, sustainable energies, or whether it's in developing proteins that are sustainable for the future. And who knows what is going to come of something like AltaSea. When I was a kid, we looked to the heavens and we thought about astronauts and going to the moon, and we did these daring adventures to explore space. And we came up with things that we never dreamed of. You have more technology in your car than was ever dreamed of by any Apollo mission. So what's going to happen to our world? How are we going to transform our world by the activities in and around AltaSea? We don't know. We don't know what we're going to discover in the ocean. We don't know what's going to come of this blue economy, which we know is growing and burgeoning and is going to develop in ways that we cannot imagine. So what AltaSea does, and I'm so proud of Jenny, I'm so proud of Terry, I'm so proud of this team, what AltaSea does is it creates an opportunity for us to transform the earth in a sustainable way, but also transform this community and this area to create new jobs and new opportunities and new companies. And I could not be more proud to have played a very, very small part, and I'm not being falsely humbled, to have played a small part in AltaSea's development. And I'm so gratified today to thank folks like Melanie and Richard Lundquist and Marathon and all of my friends. If I start looking out at all of my friends out there who participated in this, Tommy at IBEW, I would miss somebody. So just know that I really appreciate each and every one of you that's reached into your pockets, reached into your workforce, reached into your brain to come up with the ideas, and has helped sustain AltaSea from that fabulous idea to what we see today. So thank you very much for letting me be a little piece of this. I appreciate you. I wish you all the luck in the world. And let's not forget, we're also doing solar panels. The solar panel project is something that has been so long in coming, and I am so grateful that Terry grabbed a hold of this and made sure that this could come to fruition, because it is just so emblematic of what AltaSea is. While it's doing its work, while it's powering its work, it's doing it in a responsible, sustainable way. So I appreciate you. I wish you luck. just know I'm always a phone call away. Anything the city of Los Angeles can do to help, and I'll strong arm their port and put them in a headlock and make sure they participate too. All right, hey, thanks very much, guys. Good luck.
Thank you, Tim. Well, Governor, you know, I have to share a story with everybody here. When you and I met 20-some years ago, I knew that you were driven and motivated to obliterate bodybuilding records and to obliterate movie box office records. But what surprised me was that you came here and you wanted to obliterate pollution, that you saw California as this amazing place that had all of this natural beauty and wonder that attracted you from Austria, and that you wanted to run for governor so that, in part, you could protect and restore its environment. Tell us what attracted you about California and its amazing potential. Do we have our extra microphone for you? Where's the other microphone? Give you this one.
Don't worry about it, Terry. One is enough for us.
One is enough.
First of all, I am delighted to be here, and I want to say thank you to Terry for always communicating with me. We've worked together for years while I was governor. He was the secretary of the EPA and did an outstanding job. And it's wonderful to see him continue his work and to make his vision become a reality, to create a clean world. And it is wonderful for me to be able to be helpful. And I was blown away when I looked around here what AltaSea is doing. I mean, there is really great action that is happening in these warehouses. I mean, all the testing that's being done, all the development that's being done, all about creating a clean environment. It is really fantastic. So congratulations to AltaSea for the outstanding job they're doing. And not only that, but also to create and to build a solar roof. I mean, this solar roof, think about it, 180,000 square feet. 4 acres of solar. I mean, think about that. I mean, I was just blown away when Terry was telling me I cannot wait to go up those stairs, the steps, and to go and look at it myself, because this is exactly what we need to do all over the state of California. They've shown us that we can do it. We can do it. I mean, if a 100-year-old building can sustain the weight of this, which is not much weight, of the solar panels, but that's always the excuse why we cannot put it on every building. It's nonsense. It's excuses. Our state government has failed us by not creating enough incentives for those warehouse owners to create solar panels on those warehouses, because we have 1.5 billion square feet of solar roof, of warehouses in California. Imagine if we put solar on all of those roofs. Do you know what that would what would that mean? I figured it out, Terry. It would mean that we would get 70 gigawatts of energy, clean energy. 70 gigawatts. The whole state only on its hottest day uses 80 gigawatts. So 70 gigawatts will be just from solar alone. So think about that. So we can do it to be 100% of renewable energy in California. All we have to do is put that will behind it and not punish people that have solar panels, because that's what the PUC and our state government is doing right now. They're punishing you, and they're going to reduce all of a sudden what they pay you for sending back electricity to the grid. The reverse metering that we made happen during our administration, now they're going to say, well, we're going to give them less money now to disincentivize you to send electricity back to the grid. So now it will take us 10 to 12 years to recoup your money that you, or the vision of making us 100% renewable energy. Well, I think what it is the utility companies. They're having a lot of power here in California. They're having more power than the politicians have. They're having control over the PUC. Think about that. That is why we don't have solar panels on every rooftop of every warehouse. But I don't want to be negative. I think that we all have to work together. It's not a one-man show here in California. If we all work together, then we can make them change their ways and their vision. We just have to send a very very clear signal to Sacramento. So this is why I wanted to come down here and see all the great progress. So anyway, I didn't want to be that long with my answer to your question, and I just want to add to you, to be very honest with you, I did not run for governor to protect the environment. I did not think about the environment when I ran for governor first, when I announced. But then I got a phone call from Bobby Kennedy Jr., a Democrat, one of my in-laws. And he said to me, he says, Arnold, I want to help you. He, by the way, is running for president now, right? Yep. So anyway, I wish him good luck. But the thing is that he called me and he says, Arnold, I want to help you. That's great that you're running for governor. It takes a lot of balls to do that. I come from a family where people are running all the time. He says, so that takes a lot of guts. He says, but I want to help you. And I said, how do you want to help me? He says, I want to introduce you to a man that is the #1 expert in environment. His name is Terry Tamminen. And I said, Bobby, thank you very much. He says, please set up the meeting. And we then met. And Terry Tamminen said, Arnold, you can become governor of the great state of California, but you got to include in your vision the environment. That's really how it happened. So originally, I didn't think about the environment. I was never an environmentalist, nothing. But this man here told me of how important it is to protect our environment, and he taught me everything that I know about the environment. And after I listened to him, I said, we are going to campaign and make this part of our campaign to protect the environment. And then when I became governor, I kept my promise and I said, Terry, you will become the secretary of the EPA, and together we're going to really create 50% of renewables, and we do the million solar roof, and we're going to reduce greenhouse gases, and we're going to do all of those kind of things that we promised on the campaign. And that's exactly what we did together. And I just want to say, Senator Fran Powerfully is sitting over there. Fran, you want to get up for a second, please? Please give her a big, big hand. And Senator Kevin Murray, please get up. Both of you, please get up. This is very important to me that you get up, that everyone sees you, because no one man can do the things that we have accomplished. You two were such big supporters, and you wrote the laws, and you helped me get it passed in Sacramento. Thank you so much for the great work that both of you did. Thank you. Since that were the days when the Democrats and the Republicans worked together to get things done. Anyway, so I also want to say thank you, because when we think about the solar roofs, yes, they wrote the bills, and yes, I signed the bills, and yes, we campaigned up and down the state for those things, but let's not forget the hardworking people that put the solar roofs up there, that put the solar panels up there. I want to say thank you to those hardworking people in that heat that climb up there on the steep roofs in the danger and put the solar panels up there. So thank you all for the great work that you have done. So with that, now I want to give you the microphone again for the second question.
Well, that's fantastic, Arnold. Thank you. And you know, you kind of got that story right. But you know, you came from a country that had clean air and clean water, and you went to the mountains and so forth. So you knew what it could possibly be here when we got together.
I know, Terry. I just wanted to make you shine.
I know. Talk about pump you people there that trained him, that got him into competitions, that got him to the United States, etc. That obviously in politics and movies, it takes thousands of people to make a movie. It takes thousands of people and great partners to make legislation. On that note, I do want to just come back to one quick point, because you said something to me the other day that could overcome this thing about why don't we have more solar on the warehouse rooftops. You had a very good idea that I think was even based on something we did with water once upon a time, that when buildings would change hands.
Well, you and I talked about one of the ways to do it is to create a law that says that when you sell your warehouse, when you buy a new warehouse, that then you do the upgrade and you build then the solar roofs. So that's one way, because we did this also with earthquake proofing the buildings, that when you sell, then you have to then bring it up to standards and so on. So this is one way of doing it. The other way is to just offer great incentives. I mean, we have the money to do that, and I think if a clean world is so important to us, I think we should put our money where our mouth is and just do it. I think that we can have it done within 10 years, that all of the warehouses, when you fly over, and I fly over periodically with the helicopter when you go somewhere to Palm Springs or wherever I sometimes go, and you fly over those warehouses, and you say to yourself, it's a shame, there's so much warehouse space and so much square footage, and they don't have it. So yeah, with incentives, I think we can do it, and with passing certain laws, we can do it. But remember, there's a will, there's a way. So the question is just, is there will in Sacramento right now to do that?
All right, the gauntlet has been thrown down. Well, I know we want to get to the action and actually get the solar plugged in up there. And of course, we can't have all of you up on the roof, but you'll see it on the big screen when Arnold and I go up there to do this. But before we do, you know, Arnold, obviously we're getting a little older, as our gray hair and beard indicates. We're not going to be around to keep doing this. We have to pass the torch to the next generation. So I know that you've inspired so many young people to think about public service, not just in terms of the environment, not just in terms of blue jobs and green jobs and so forth, but in so many other ways. But today, with all these news cameras here and so many people listening to you, and young people, so many young people thinking about their futures, what do you want to tell them that they need to be thinking about and doing to pick this torch up and run with it?
Well, I think it's important is to be passionate about it, and to see the importance of it. And I have to tell you that in my wildest dreams, when I was 15 years old and I was training in this dungeon in Austria, the weightlifting and bodybuilding, did I think about, I was thinking about, I want to be a world champion bodybuilder, I want to be coming to America, I want to get into movies and be rich and famous, and all of those kind of things I was dreaming of when I was a kid. But not at all about that one day I will become a crusader for the environment. That's the last thing I thought about. But I tell you, this is one of the most wonderful things that you can do, where you go and you do something and give something back to your community, give something back to your country, give something back to the world. We all have a responsibility to do that, to not just think about me, but to think about we. And this is something that I have been doing not only during my governorship, to go up and down the state and to go around the world and talk about the importance of the environment and to get other people involved in this crusade. But after the governorship, I continued on through the Schwarzenegger Institute at USC. And I have this, like I said, the annual World Climate Conference in Vienna. And I go around the world and talking about the environment. Every time I do an interview, I talk about the environment. So I want to just ask everybody to get involved and to go and talk about this and to put pressure on the legislators and the politicians, if it is in Sacramento, if it is in City Hall in Los Angeles, if it is in Washington at the Capitol. I mean, just put the pressure on those public officials to let them know how important it is to save the world from this pollution. Because pollution kills 7 million people a year. Now think about that. Look at all the things that we did when we had this attack on our Twin Towers in New York, where 4,000 people lost their lives. We went into action. We went crazy that 4,000 people had to die. Here's 7 million people that die every year because of pollution. So we can do so much better than we're doing now. We just have to make sure not to let those fossil fuel companies, those coal companies, and those oil companies buy up those politicians that are just greedy to get reelected. That's the most important thing for them sometimes. They have to become, instead of party servants, public servants. That's what I demand from the politicians. Be public servants. And then we can solve those problems together. That's it.
All right, well, I think it's time to go plug in 2 megawatts of solar and pump up 700 homes here in San Pedro with a lot of clean energy. And when you're going to see this on the screen, when Arnold plugs that in, you're going to notice something. You don't hear anything, you don't see anything. It's silent and clean. But all of that energy will then be going to the grid. Let's go do it.
So we don't have any sound effects or anything like that?
You can
We are close to Hollywood. Let's do it.
let's do it.
Terry, or Governor.
First of all, I want to introduce you to the workers that put this up here on the roof.
Hey, good to see you.
All right. So we're going to have some action.
You want the microphone. Come on up here. Come closer.
Let's get everybody in the shot. All right, so Governor, what you're going to do is just line those two things up right there.
Let's sit together. Come on.
You got it. 1, 2, 3.
Very nice.
So now, I think you may want a couple of shots for your magazine, so why don't the rest of us move off and let him get a couple of pictures.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we've got the power as the theme of the summit. Yeah. I think if you're all the way up here, it'd be cool. We're going to do one of just Arnold plugging into us. Why are you so serious? I don't know. I'm not.